bring Sal Paolantonio in for another Sal Pal Friday. Sal, how are you, my friend?
Oh man, I haven't really gone outside much. It's really raining hard here in South Jersey. We were over at NFL Films, taped the matchup show, and right now we're just battening down the hatches, big boy. How's it down in Atlantic City?
I'll tell you, Sal, it's pretty windy, it's pretty flooded, and it's tough sledding, it's tough driving around here. But it looks like they're, to our knowledge, to your knowledge, they're going to get this game in on Sunday in Washington.
Yeah, the NFL has notified everybody that the game is on in Landover, Maryland.
All right, so that we know. I want to ask you, you did pick the Eagles to win last week, and many people commented to me that, hey, I'll give Sal some credit. He did stick with those Eagles last week. But were you impressed with the victory and the way they got out of there? I know a win is a win in the NFL on the road. Give them credit for that. But were you impressed the way they left New York and said, you know what, this team's on their way to starting to string something together?
Not yet, Mike. I think this team is a very slow work in progress. I didn't use the word steady for a reason, because I thought they took a step back in some areas, and I thought they took a step forward in some areas. I think the step forward came with some play in the secondary, especially on the back end. I think that both Thurmond and Jenkins are playing at a very high level. I think Fletcher Cox and Jordan Hicks are playing at a high level, and Carter Barwin obviously is. Brandon Graham is coming along. I think the biggest problem still remains corner. Nolan Carroll is steady. But Byron Maxwell, people are talking about him playing better. I saw them throw at him 6 times, and all 6 were completions, and that was Ryan Fitzpatrick. So I think Byron Maxwell is still a major vulnerability for this team. Now, as for the offense, it's bad. This is a bad offense right now, and this is one area where we didn't expect that to happen with Chip Kelly. We went back through it, and I did some next-level numbers of this Eagles offense to get ready for today's taping of the matchup show, and we have some of it on the show tomorrow morning as well as on Sunday morning, and I thought I would share some of it with your audience. Does that sound good, Mike?
I'm anticipating hearing this. Always good stuff, especially when it comes from the matchup show. We know you guys do a great job with that, so I'm really looking forward to what you got for us here.
Well, here's the thing. The Eagles' offense, Mike, is averaging the fewest points per drive, 1.28 in the National Football League. They are punting on the highest percentage of drives, 52%, and they are recording the highest percentage of drives without a first down, 45%. Those are amazing numbers. Then you dig down deeper and you realize it's really the problem starts and ends with Sam Bradford at quarterback. 5.4 yards downfield. That's the lowest in the NFL. His average completion, like now, this is unbelievable. We are in a passing league.
Right.
The NFL, the modern NFL, is a passing league. If you can't pass the ball in this league, you can't win. His average completion has traveled 3.25 yards. That's the lowest in the league. Now, just imagine that 3.25 yard completion is lower than you would want to average in a running play. If you're running,
right.
If you're averaging 3.2 yards per rush, that's anemic. If you're averaging 3.25 yards per pass play, that's embarrassing. And then the last one is this. Bradford has not completed a pass thrown more than 18 yards past the line of scrimmage this season. That is unbelievable. 35 quarterbacks have completed at least one pass more than 18 yards downfield this season. Bradford is not one of them. That's astounding.
It's unbelievable stuff, and really good numbers, Sal Pal and Sal Pal Fridays here. You know, you just mentioned the problem starts and ends with Sam Bradford. The numbers you just threw out, it's unbelievable, the yards per pass. Now, he was asked this week about taking shots down the field, Sal, and he indicated, well, they're not really calling throws for me to throw down the field. So is it Sam as much as it's the scheme, or is it Chip Kelly telling us that he doesn't trust Sam to make those calls?
Nobody is open. Here are the problems based on a film study that I've done and the statistical analysis. One, the rookie wide receiver, Nelson Aguilar, has only targeted 12 times in 3 games. Now, in this game against Washington, Mike, he should be targeted at least 12 times in this game alone. Why?
Yeah.
He lines up on the right. A statistical analysis and film study analysis we did on the matchup show shows that in the first 3 games this year, when teams throw to their right against Washington, they complete 82% of their passes with 4 touchdowns.
Wow.
That's the best in the NFL against that defense. So to me, and Jordan Matthews should not have a big game because Washington is number 1 in defense against slot receivers in the league. So Aguilar is a game where they have to get Aguilar open and they have to throw to him. And that has been a major problem. If Matthews is not available, Cooper and Aguilar have not been open. And you look at the second thing is, and here's a funny thing. People think, well, teams are attacking Sam Bradford. They're not. Sam Bradford, Mike, is the least blitzed quarterback in the NFL.
Wow.
Why is that? Because the receiver's not getting open. So teams don't have to blitz. They're just covering in one-on-one or zone-man schemes where they figure, hey, we don't have to worry about these guys because they can't get beat. The one guy that this team is missing is still Deshaun Jackson.
Yep.
That was the really, in my opinion, the most misguided move so far of the Chip Kelly era.
I agree with you wholeheartedly there, Sal. The day it happened, I said this move will define that first decision. I think will define him moving forward. And you're right. They haven't replaced him. They still can't get down the field. They can't pop off the top. And, maybe that's something that's, a factor with Bradford's play. I want to ask you, too, obviously, Sal, the running back situation. Murray didn't play last week. We saw Matthews. Is Matthews a better fit? Has been the narrative all week long. What is your take when you watch the film between Murray and Matthews? Is it as simple as the offensive line, or is it the back that's creating more opportunity?
See, this is a total misconception. They changed the offense against the Jets. They did 4 things to change the offense. 1, they abandoned the inside zone read run, and they started running on the outside. 2, they slowed the offense down. They decided to remove a lot of the quick tempo. That allowed them to stay on the field, and it also allowed them to catch their breath. Most important, however, is they ran the ball from behind center as opposed to the shotgun more. First 2 games, they ran the ball out of the shotgun 88% of the time. Against the Jets, they ran the ball out of the shotgun 60% of the time.
Wow.
Yeah, absolutely. If you take Murray and you have him run in an I formation, he'll be just as successful as Ryan Matthews.
Right.
It has nothing to do with Matthews. Kelly changed the offense.
Really good stuff. Sal Pal Friday here. I'll a couple more with you, Sal. I want to get your real quick thoughts on Washington, who has the best defense in the league, in the East, I should say, the NFC East. They've given up the least points, only 84 yards a game rushing. So are we supposed to take the Washington defense seriously?
A little bit. Listen, the Redskins are 2-11 in division play since the start of the 2013 season. That's the worst in the NFL in that time. So, and both wins, by the way, were by a field goal, and both occurred in the final 10 seconds of regulation or overtime. So they could be 0-15 in the division in the last 2 years real easily. The second thing is this. It doesn't matter how good your defense is if your defense has to defend a short field. And Kirk Cousins is a turnover machine. He's committed a turnover every 32 snaps worst in the NFL since 2012. Worst. And listen, Mike, I'm going to keep it real here for you. If Chip Kelly cannot beat Kirk Cousins with Sam Bradford, then A, Chip Kelly has no business being the architect of a football team at the NFL level. And B, this team, I'm talking about the Eagles, has a real short-term and long-term quarterback problem. If Bradford doesn't work out, and it starts in this game, you got to beat a team that doesn't play well in its division, that is starting Kirk Cousins at quarterback. And listen, I like Kirk Cousins. He's a nice guy. I've talked to him. He works hard. He's an earnest NFL player. But he's Kirk Cousins, and he's a turnover machine. And you saw what the Giants did against him last Thursday night. He was telegraphing his throws, and the Giants don't have anywhere near a great defense or a championship-level defense. They don't even have a division-level defense. Winning the division with that defense is going to be hard. And they made Kirk Cousins look really pedestrian in many respects. I think he had 2 picks in that game, did he not? And to me, you got to be able to beat Kirk Cousins. Because if Sam Bradford fails this year and you decide not to re-sign him, you're on the Ryan Mallett carousel. You're on the Brian Hoyer merry-go-round.
You're right. I've asked that question, Sal. If this doesn't work out, where do they go from here?
Right now, it's not working out, Mike.
Can't agree with you more. It's not.
A lot of people asked me last week, and I think you might have asked me, Mike. You might have asked me, do you go with Sanchez up there at MetLife if Bradford doesn't play well? Well, Bradford did not play well in the game. They survived. Sometimes in the NFL, you just got to survive in advance. Did not play well. He survived. In this game, now I was not for going to Sanchez in week 3, especially up there with all the psychological ghosts for Mark Sanchez in that stadium. But in this game, I advocate if Bradford is playing poorly and the Eagles are losing to Kirk Cousins and the Washington Redskins at halftime, it's Mark Sanchez time in the second half.
Wow. Well, we hope it doesn't get to that point.
You disagree with me on that?
Oh, no. I said this week, Sal, leading into this Sal Pal Friday, and I wanted to get your take on it too, was Chip Kelly owes it to this team that if that quarterback's holding them back, he owes it to the team that he has to step up and make a change.
Well, Kelly has already built in the excuse that opposing defenses have changed the way they play against the offense. But, obviously he's being not totally truthful if he doesn't also acknowledge the fact that his own personnel decisions have played a part in the Eagles' declining number of big plays.
No doubt.
So, while we want to sit here and blame Bradford, and there's a lot of reasons why you want to blame him. He's rushing his throws. He's looking at the pass rush. He seems to be uninspired. A lot of his passes are inaccurate. All of that. There are many other major factors. The reshuffling of the middle of the offensive line has created leakage in the pass rush. 2, their wide receivers are not explosive enough to get up open on their own. 3, Bradford does not have control at the line of scrimmage to change the play like other quarterbacks. And I think in all of those respects, you can blame Kelly more than Bradford. So it's a combination of things. The target's on Bradford and Kelly, and I think Kelly is loath, Mike. I think he's loath to the idea that he replaces Bradford and places the blame on him. I think Kelly might be concerned that if he does that, if he benches Bradford, that he will lose his team. But the flip side of that, as you mentioned, is if he doesn't bench Bradford, if it's pretty clear Bradford's to blame because he's making bad choices on the field, then he could lose his locker room. Either way, he's
right.
Damned if he does, he's damned if he doesn't.
Good take by Sal. I agree with you there. He's in a tough spot, but he put himself here, and that's what happens when you're the GM and the coach. It's a Sal Pal Friday, everybody. Don't forget the matchup show. Sal Pal Jaws.
The Eagles are going to win this game, Mike. Mike, the Eagles are going to win this game. I got the Eagles winning this game.
I was going to ask you. You picked them last week. You're going 2 in a row. You got them winning?
No, I do. And, when we went through the schedule, you and I, over the summer, I said I thought Washington was a loss. But Kirk Cousins is exposing himself on the field with error after error after error, just exposing his deficiencies. And the Eagles' defense is playing well enough to, I think, dictate to the Redskins' offense. Teams that are run-heavy, one-dimensional like this, play right into the Eagles' hands. This is not a good matchup at all offensively, at all for Washington. And the Eagles may need another special teams touchdown. They may get a touchdown on defense. But I think they will win the game 27-20.
27-20 is Sal's pick. And Sal, we know on the Friday, stay dry when you're covering this weekend. And, of course, I'm down here inside the Tropicana. We're giving away Eagles-Bills club box tickets. We wish you could be here on set with us, but having your presence on the phone is equally as solid.
Okay, Mike, you got it, brother.